Hello, 5th grade. Today we're on lesson 115. The objective is to calculate the area of figures that can be divided into rectangles. So basically throughout this lesson, in the past we've learned how to find the area of quadrilaterals, or I guess rectangular shapes. Today, instead of just having one rectangle, they're going to have two of them kind of pieced together. Alright, and there isn't necessarily a formula to figure out the area of this shape, but you can do one of two things. They will give you, first of all, the lengths and the widths of everything that you need. Let's say this is 8, this is 5. Let's say this is 2. Okay? Basically, it's our job to break this up into rectangles. Okay? Now that we know that this little piece has a width of 2, we can figure out the length by taking this entire 8-unit long piece, subtracting it from 5, and getting 3, and adding those two together. Okay? The area of this shape, 2 times 3 is 6 units squared, and then I know that this length is 10, its width is 5, not 8. So I need to take 10 times 5 and you get 50 units squared. If you add that up, you'll get 56 units squared, and that is how you calculate the area of figures that can be divided into rectangles. Notice how I divided this little area or this figure up into 2 rectangles and then found my area after that. On page 756, it says, recall that we calculate the area of a rectangle by multiplying the length and width. In this lesson, we will calculate the area of the figures that can be divided into rectangles. On example number 1, they give us a shape that looks very similar to this. It has a 5-foot length down there, 4, 3, and 7. Okay, now we need to figure out how we can find the area of this entire shape. And I guess I described one way on this sheet, and we'll describe another way soon. But first, we can divide this into rectangles that way, or we can do it, of course, this way. Okay, and then you either have this rectangle and this rectangle, or this one and this one. Okay, so we just need to make a decision, and I'll split it horizontally just because that's what I did first. Okay, so to find the area of this small side, we need to take the length and multiply it by the width. Now they don't give us the width, they give us the length of 5. So I'll write down 5, and I know I need to multiply it by the width. So 5 times this side, of course, equals the area of our shape. We know that this side is 7. If we subtract this piece from it, imagining that that piece runs right here, if we subtract that piece from it, we will get our width. So 7 minus 3 is 4 feet. Now that I know that 5 times 4 is 20, I have found the area. I have found the area of this small rectangle. Okay? Now I need to figure out the area of this second rectangle. I know the width is 3, and I know the length is 5 and 4. If I add 5 and 4 together, that will give me the length of my rectangle. 5 plus 4 is, of course, 9. Multiply those two numbers together and get 27 feet squared. Okay, now they asked me to find the area of this entire object, so I need to take the area of this rectangle, add it to the area of this rectangle, and I have 27 plus 20 feet squared. I get 47 feet squared for example number 1. Okay, and if you look in the book, they do it differently. They did it vertically. but they still got the same answer of 47 feet squared. It's okay. You can divide your rectangles however you want to, as long as you get the correct answer. Example A, again, they have a shape that looks very similar. It can be broke up into two rectangles. They give us this length of 7 meters. 7 meters, 4, 3, 3, and 4. Okay. Now again, you can split it up vertically, and then I have rectangle 1, rectangle 2. The other way that I'm going to show you today is just so that you're introduced to it. You can also make this entire thing a rectangle. Figure out the area of this entire shape, and then subtract what we want to get rid of. That's what I'm going to do for this second one. Okay. To find the area, I'll take length times width, 7 times 7, and get 49 meters squared. Now I'm going to subtract it from the piece that's missing. And I know that the area of this piece is length 3 times width 3 is 9 meters squared. Now if I subtract that, I'll get 40 meters squared. And that's how you find your answer for example number 2. Okay. Now if I wanted to do that my own way, I would take 7 times 4 to find the area of this rectangle. I'd get 28 meters squared. To do this one, I would take length 4 times width 3 and get 12 meters squared. 2 plus 8 is 10. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 40 meters squared. Okay? The answer is the same, it's just a different process. It's just a different way to get the same answer. Okay? Finally, let's go over one more. Example number 3, I'll do practice problem. Let's do practice problem D. It's just a very small piece missing down here. Okay, so this is 1 foot, 1 foot. This is 5, 6, 6, and 5. Okay? So again, in my opinion, it's easiest to find the area of this entire shape by multiplying 6. I think it's in feet. 6 feet times 6 feet, and getting 36 feet squared, and then subtracting this small area, rather than breaking this up into parts like this. Okay, so I'm going to take 6 times 6, get 36 feet squared for this entire object, including the missing space, and I'm going to subtract the area of this small space. 1 foot times 1 foot is 1 foot squared, and I'm subtracting 36 and 1, and I get 35 feet squared. Okay, and that's our answer for example number 3. I will go over this one more time just to show you that you can go through the process of finding volume for these rectangular shapes in 2 ways. This is way 1. The second way, of course, is to take the length 5 times the width 1 to find the area of this shape, of this rectangle, and you get 5 feet squared. Okay, now I know that my length is 6 and my width is 5. So I'm multiplying 6 times 5 and I get 30. I add 30 feet squared to 5 feet squared. Okay, and then this one was 5 feet squared, and I get my answer of 35 feet squared. Okay, you can do it either way. It's totally up to you. You've written down 3 example problems. Make sure you bring it tomorrow, and I'm not going to be here, so I hope you have a great day with the sub. Treat him or her with respect.